Good afternoon. I'm Amy Seymour, your Rotary host for today's presentation about Pound Buddies. Our guests today are Lana Carson, Executive Director, and Jan Jacobs, Campaign Director. However, before we get started, we will watch a short video and learn about their mission and their story.
I can't imagine a world without animals. I can't imagine hospitals without therapy dogs. I can't imagine classrooms without dogs in it, and the veterans that have some of our dogs that have become service dogs, and without them there would be less purpose. I'm Cindy Hutchison, and this is Maya. Maya's a Pound Buddies alumni, came out of the kennels about 6 years ago now.
My name is Connie Carey. I volunteer for Pound Buddies Animal Shelter. Started volunteering with a small group in 1998. At that time, it was basically the proverbial dog pound. The dogs were brought in and kept for 4 to 7 days, the stray hold, and if they were not claimed, they were euthanized.
We're out there helping those animals, keeping the public safe, and then if those animals are brought into the shelter, a lot of these times these are people's pets, is that they're kept safe until they're reunited with their home.
She has such a gift of empathy for everyone and everything that she meets that it became kind of clear that she was meant to be a part of our family.
Seeing what is going on today with Lana and her staff and the volunteers, the caring and the energy they put into making sure these animals receive the best is overwhelming for me to know what it used to be like. They work from the time the animal comes in to make sure it gets the best of care, get it out of there any way they can, get it home, get it adopted, get it to another shelter so that it opens up room for more animals.
The current building that we're in was built back in the 60s. And at that time, it wasn't like a sheltering mindset. It was purely to get animals off the street. It's extremely difficult to keep dogs healthy and happy and reduce their stress in a very old design like this. In addition, I mean, the roof and the conditions for the staff and the volunteers to work in there are also extremely difficult.
The weekend that I first helped Maya was in the springtime, and it was rainy, and you get wet in the kennels because the roof leaks so bad. There's so many Mayas in the kennels. Every dog has what Maya has. Hopefully we can continue to make it better and continue to get the Mayas out of there.
The pinnacle, I guess, is a new shelter. Well, we're going from about 98 kennels to probably 140 kennels. We're adding 8,000 square feet onto an existing 16,000. The kennels will not face each other. That's stressful for dogs to look at each other. There'll be an indoor play area. There'll be an area for cats. There will be rooms for offices. There'll be an intake area. There will also be an isolation area for dogs to be evaluated. There's about 5 acres that's fenced in so that the dogs will get plenty of exercise. Well, we have about 8,000 square feet, and we're going from 8,000 to 25,000. So you can imagine we have a lot of room, and it'll be put to good use. We are reaching out and asking people to support your community shelter, and that's what this is.
It's going to be night and day. It's not even going to be the same thing moving into a new shelter that has the appropriate flow, the operations and the way that they need. Right now, it's kind of that survival mode. It's like put your head down, do the work, quick, adapt, make things happen. Don't complain. It is what it is. And so to be able to look up and just be more efficient and effective at things, it's going to be amazing.
Pound Buddies is one of many that do things really well, but Pound Buddies does it so right that it's kind of hard to see any other way. This is exactly how an animal shelter should be run. This is a worthwhile cause. It is going to help every person in the community, every animal in the community. It's worth your investment, it's worth your time, it's worth your thought, it's worth the conversation.
Since the county doesn't have any animal control deputies or anything like that, the responsibility goes to Pound Buddies to assist with that. And we utilize them because they have a lot of the tools and a lot of the training that, you know, every individual officer might not have.
There are people that can handle that better than what we can or I can, and that allows me to get back to the streets and answering calls for 911 or patrolling the streets. By donating to Pound Buddies, you're not only helping the community, you're helping Pound Buddies better serve the community.
It's a whole community adventure, and I think they'll be so proud if they take part in it and see how far we've come and how far we can go with it.
It's not just about that pet, but you're impacting people. And I think that's where we get the win-win. We're unique in that. We get a win-win situation.
This is a huge financial commitment for Pound Buddies. We're asking for the support of our entire community. For those donors who have been so generous in the past, we're asking you to be more generous. We're asking for new donors. This impacts not only the animals that we serve, those who have been abused and neglected or just lost, it impacts our entire community. The young folks, our next generation, law enforcement, our economic environment, it impacts all of us. We cannot do it without your strong financial support.
Lana and Jan, thank you for joining us today at Rotary.
Oh, thanks for having us.
We want to learn more about your organization and the Unleashing the Possibilities campaign that you are part of right now. Lana, can you give a little more background about Pound Buddies and when and how did the organization begin?
Absolutely. So we were formed in 1998 when our founder, Connie Carey, learned about kind of what was happening down at the animal shelter and the need for the care of the animals that were in here, reuniting them with their owners. And then if they were not found or identified, then getting these animals out into their next forever home. So we started as a very small volunteer organization, not coming anything from an animal welfare background or rescue anything, just very committed, compassionate people that wanted to make a difference in our community for the pets and the people. So what originally started as a small group has evolved over the past almost 20 years now to, oh my gosh, 16 staff members and 200 plus volunteers, and running the animal shelter as well as the animal care and control for Muskegon. So improving the services and helping out economically.
Well, that is impressive. That's a lot of volunteers and staff to make this all work for our community. We saw in the video about the current facility that you're in. Can you tell us a little bit about who owns the building and where is it located?
We are at 1300 East Keating, and this is where the Muskegon County Animal Shelter has always been. It's actually owned by the township, rented out by Muskegon County, and then Pound Buddies is the service provider. A little crazy there. So we're on Keating. So ever since this was built in the 60s, this is where the Muskegon County Dog Pound has been, and this is where our operations are out of.
All right, so where is the new location proposed?
Jan, you'll have to give the address, but it is exactly 3 miles down the road on Laketon. It is the old Robert Hughes building that is undergoing the renovations and the addition. So we'll be very close to where we're at right now, literally 3 miles door to door.
All right, and Jan, how will this shelter impact the shelter animals?
Oh, it'll be a dramatic improvement for the shelter animals right now. And I think you saw in the video, Lana and her staff and volunteers are working with kennels that are approximately 3x5, and those really don't meet today's standards for shelter care. So the new shelter will have 5x8. The general population will have 5x8 kennels, and we'll have some 8x8. We get extra large dogs, or if we want to showcase some dogs. But also, in addition to that, as you saw in the plans on the video, we have an indoor area. We're in Michigan. Sometimes the weather is too inclement to take, dogs outside. So they'll still be able to get good exercise inside. And then behind the building, we have 4 fenced-in acres that we have plans to turn into walking trails and outside exercise areas. So I think the whole intent of the new shelter is to really preserve the true personality of the dog by really enhancing their emotional, physical, and mental well-being while they're residing with us.
Nice. And now, hearing the story about how the building is owned by the county, is it also funded by the county? And is it an organization of 501c3? So if we wanted to donate or help?
Well, we always enjoy help. Absolutely. We Pound Buddies, and Lana, please jump in. Pound Buddies has a dual role. We are a charitable shelter. We are a 501c3 nonprofit animal shelter, providing a service to the county, which is animal care and control. So for that portion, we do get subsidized from the county on an annual basis. We currently have a 10-year contract with the county to provide that service. We do get subsidized for that, but it is less than 40% of our annual budget. And Lana, I'd love you to speak to all of the things that are involved in animal care and control above and beyond our charitable shelter.
Sure. So understanding first, too, how we're different than, say, just an adoption center. So we are the only facility, the only organization that actually services Muskegon County, the public safety needs of stray and abandoned dogs that are running loose, but these are also people's pets. And housing them here, we're the only facility. Every county has some sort of animal sheltering service. And so we essentially are just the service provider, what Muskegon County did for decades down here. We were able, however, to come in, and I think to date it's been over 1.9 million that we've saved. And since we took over the county, we've dropped the euthanasia rate. We can adopt more dogs out. We have a live release rate that is 90% of our animals. So when you look at what we're doing, I always kind of look at we're the wholesaler as compared to a retailer. So other organizations in town, and they're wonderful. We work closely with all of the cat and the dog rescues in town, but they are considered adoption centers. And so think of them as a retailer. They have about 25 kennels for their dogs, substantially more for their cats. And they can kind of pick and choose the animals that come in. So they can come to a place like us. They can go to any other municipal shelter in the state of Michigan, even out of the state, and pick and choose the animals that they want to bring in, the number of animals that they want to bring in. And then when you look at us, consider us the wholesaler for Muskegon County. So any dog that is out on the street, whether law enforcement, animal control, a good Samaritan finds the dog, or we go pick it up, if it's an unknown owner, that dog is brought in here, regardless of the age, the breed, the temperament, the medical status, to provide public safety as well as safekeeping for that animal, hopefully until they're reunited with their owner. If they are not, then they go up for adoption, and then we find them their forever home. So it's a completely different service model than, say, just an adoption center. On top of that, we also now are contracting our services for the animal care and control for Muskegon County. So we have all of our staff members, boots on the ground, that are out keeping animals safe, that are, again, have lost their way, they're running loose, assisting law enforcement in anything that they need, anything that hinders them in their duties. You'd be surprised how many traffic accidents or arrests that are made, and there's a dog in the car. That animal has to go somewhere. Or any number of things. So even law enforcement with their cruelty investigations, the animals most often are seen by our vet. There's court cases that are involved. So we're housing the animals until that happens. We're observing any improvements that are made while these situations are kind of going through their process. So we really do, it's not just within the four walls of our building, but it's a lot of community acting as well.
Mm-hmm. A great resource that I was not familiar all of the ways that animals come to you as in Pound Buddies. So once an animal is at Pound Buddies, what happens like on a daily basis? Do they just sit in their cage, or do they get to get out and walk around, or what does that look like? Can you tell us a little bit?
No, we're so active with our animals. Our staff and our volunteers arrive at 8 o'clock every morning. We are here 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, Christmas, Easter, you name it, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We start with a first let out, I think from 8 to 9 in the morning. It's our busiest because these dogs have been waiting to go out potty. So it's a mad rush to get almost 100 dogs out for their first potty break. And then we move into cleaning the kennels, feeding. The dogs are then let out for another long walk, interaction with our staff, again, volunteers. Then we move into the afternoon shift. We're doing vaccinations and blood draws and vet visits and dogs play dates. That goes on all afternoon. And then we move right into the evening, where it's our second round of cleaning, our dinner, and dog walking and interaction again. Our dogs, our commitment that our staff and our volunteers have to these animals, at a minimum, they have to be out of their kennels and walked 5 times a day. So I tell our staff members when they come in here, get used to it. Our staff will average 7 miles a 4-hour shift. We've tracked ourselves. So we are very interactive with our animals because this facility is so antiquated. Literally everything that comes down to ensuring the health and the well-being of these animals, the building is working against us. So it has to be on the backs and the work of our staff and our volunteers. And that is our constant interaction with these animals. Again, this could be your pet. How do you want your dog to be treated while you're on vacation and your dog sitter didn't tell you that your dog got out 3 days ago and they've been here? Or again, if a family is not, our responsibility now, not only for the welfare of an animal to find their home, but a public safety, we have to know everything that we can about these animals to safely and appropriately house them in a potential adopter's home with other dogs and kids and cats and all that. So we're very interactive with our dogs all throughout the day.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great volunteer opportunities, and not only do you keep those dogs busy, but you're probably keeping those volunteers in shape as well. So there's a bonus right there. But let's really quick, I would love to talk about the Unleashing the Possibilities, Jan. When did you launch it, and what is your goal? And how can we help?
Well, we have an overall goal of $2.5 million. We actually have purchased the former Hughes Builders building, and we are, of course, there's a lot that goes into that, a lot of renovation, the addition that we're putting on the back. And really, we are looking to the community to support this. We've just had a new batch of kennels delivered into the new shelter. We're excited to get those up, but we move as fast as our donations come in. So with an overall goal of $2.5 million, and let's say we've had to pause a little bit because of COVID, not pause the work that's going on at the shelter, but a little pause in fundraising, which I think a lot of nonprofits are experiencing the same thing. But we are hitting the ground running now. We do not have a choice, as you saw in the video. Time is not on our side when it comes to that building, and we need to work quickly to get into a new facility. We need to really look to the community for some help and support as far as moving us ahead in this project.
So less than a minute left. How can we get in contact with Pound Buddies to help and to give our time and treasure to help you achieve this goal?
Well, there's many ways. The first thing I would say would be to visit the Pound Buddies website or Unleashing the Possibilities, just making sure that's .org, poundbuddies.org, or unleashingthepossibilities.org. There are volunteer opportunities, certainly. And as Lana said, she's there 7 days a week, and you can always stop into the shelter now within COVID restrictions and learn more about what's happening at the shelter and just walking in to make a donation. But, you know, no donation to us right now is too small, and we just are so appreciative of all the support that we're receiving from the community.
Wonderful. Lana, Jan, thank you so much for telling us more about Pound Buddies and having this presentation for Rotary. We wish you the best of luck, but thank you so much for what you do in our community. Again, it's one of those organizations that does so much, and there's so much more that we can do and learn about. So thank you to all the members, and I hope that you take a look at their website and find ways that you can help them. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.